two, three. So, some restaurants have menus with pictures of the food, while others do not.
Some believe that having pictures decreases the satisfaction of consumers because they will have high expectations.
So, as the food connoisseurs that we are, we wanted to determine whether the proportions of low-priced restaurants 5 miles from East that have pictures is the same as the proportions as the ones that do not.
We wanted to see if there is a relationship between the number of restaurants that feature pictures on their menus and the level of satisfaction a customer has with the restaurant as expressed through Yelp reviews.
The reason why our group chose this project because our first proposal got rejected.
But also, we just love food, and this was the perfect excuse to eat and practice that, our two favorite pastimes.
To select a random sample, we went on Yelp and selected restaurants within a 5-mile radius from Cherry Hill East. We then checked off the $1 and $2 bill signs so that we have a population of low-priced restaurants only. There turned out to be 768 restaurants, which makes up our population. We then used a random number generator to pick 30 restaurants for our sample. We ignored any repeats that we got.
We also ignored any restaurants that did not have a physical menu for us to observe. After, we each went to 10 different restaurants of the 30 and determined if their menus had pictures. Here are some clips.
What I like about cheese is that you can put it on veggies and it tastes so good. Yeah! I like to talk about food, cause it's my favorite thing to do. Every treat from yellow to blue, red and green, so let's all sing. Tell me all about your favorite foods.
Mine is pizza!
And I like hamburgers too. I'll eat ice cream cake till my tummy aches. But then here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll do. Share some of mine with you.
Yummy, yummy,
Ooh,
in my tummy.
ooh,
Yummy, yummy,
all of my favorite food.
yummy, yummy,
Ooh,
in my tummy. Yummy, yummy.
ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. All simple as do, re, mi. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Baby, you and me, girl. ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. All simple as do, re, mi. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Baby, you and me, girl.
Good morning, class. Today, we will be reviewing the 1 proportion Z test. Come on, class. What will we be doing? Say it with me.
Stay, plan, do, conclude!
To start, what's the parameter? You.
Well, parameter is P, which is the true proportion of restaurants within a 5-mile radius of East that have pictures in their menus.
Good job. What are our no and alternative hypotheses in this scenario? You.
Give me a sec. Our no hypothesis is p equals 0.5, and our alternate hypothesis is p is less than 0.5.
Good. And what is the significance level? You. You fool. You just lost a point. So it is 0.05. So what are the conditions? You.
Well, first, the sample was selected randomly with a random number generator.
Also, we need to check for independence using the 10% rule. Our sample size, n, has to be less than or equal to 1/10 of our population of low-priced restaurants within a 5-mile radius of East. So 30, which was our sample size that we selected, is less than or equal to 1/10 of 768, which is our population.
We also need to make sure our sample is normal. To check that, both the number of successes and failures have to be greater than or equal to 10. So that means NP has to be greater than or equal to 10, and N times 1 minus P has to be greater than or equal to 10. So when you plug in the numbers, you get 14 is greater than or equal to 10, and 16 is greater than or equal to 10.
Good, now we have our conditions. Who knows the formula for our test statistics?
So I will just read out for you guys. Can someone plug in the numbers?
I got it. I got it. Then we can draw a graph and find the p-value with our calculator. Let's do it. Another option is that we can just use the calculator to solve the entire problem by doing a one proportion z-test on our calculator.
Great, now we need to conclude. Since our p-value is equal to 0.358 and our alpha level is equal to 0.05.
We failed to reject the null hypothesis.
This means that we have convincing evidence that the amount of restaurants with pictures does not differ from the amount that do not.
From there, we checked the Yelp reviews of all the restaurants. Overall, we found that there was no significant difference between the reviews of restaurants with pictures and the reviews of restaurants without pictures. For example, 10 had pictures in their menus while Escala's Fire didn't. However, they both had a 4-star rating overall. Similarly, Applebee's had pictures in their menu while Prospectors didn't. They both had a 3-star rating overall. Overall, we found that the number of restaurants with and without pictures are similar, as well as their overall reviews. This means that according to our research, there does not seem to be a relationship between pictures in menus and satisfaction rate, as expressed through Yelp reviews. However, we cannot draw conclusions about cause and effect since this was an observational study only.
Thank
You
for
watching.
You can